Hello students, we will start with the 10th chapter in science, that is disaster management. Now you all have studied about disaster. Do you all know what is disaster? A sudden calamity is known as disaster, and it can include anything like floods, cloudburst, or lightning, or forest fires, or any place has caught fire. All of these things comes under disaster. So we have learned that what is disaster in 6th standard. Now in this chapter we are going to learn more about disaster. Do you remember what are the two main types of disaster? Now children, disaster may be natural disaster or man-made disaster. Natural and man-made disaster actually both are related to each other. Natural disaster, for example, such as famine, lightning strike, cloudburst, storm, etc., which occurs due to changes in the weather, that we call it as natural disaster. Then we have man-made disaster also. But let us first talk about natural disaster. The first natural disaster is famine. Now, it is said that use water sparingly because at many places there is water scarcity, and as water will be less in those areas, so they won't be able to produce crops, they won't be able to fulfill their needs of water for their day-to-day needs of the water. So in such regions, famine can occur. Now what is famine? So it is the condition that arises due to long-term and severe scarcity of food grains and water. So that place is called as that it is suffering from famine. Now, what can be the reason of famine? So, usually, as in some places it won't rain, so in those places there will be scarcity of water, and because of scarcity of water, the food grains won't be able to grow. Because in such places, the main occupation of people is agriculture. But though we know that the main reason can be natural because the rains which occur, that is because of natural process. But famine condition is also created because of some human activities. Though there are natural events that occur that causes famine, but there are some human activities also which leads to the reduction of water. Now, there are many records of life, people losing their life because of famines. As there won't be enough food, enough water, then how will the people be able to survive? So, in such cases, people lose their life, and especially in Asia, it is very common because most of the people get affected because of famine and droughts. And in such region, now famine doesn't only occur because of the reduced water. Sometimes if it rains more than it is expected, then at that time also whatever food grains they have stored, whatever things they wanted to protect for their future, those things are also destroyed, and these things also causes famine. So it is not only that famine is caused because the rains are less, but if there is extra rain, there is flood, then also famine can occur. Now, what can be the causes of famine? So, drought, heavy rains, and food crops getting washed away or damaged in the floods, even sometimes because of environmental changes, storm, cold waves, fog. The crops gets damaged by the animals like mice, rats, pests. Even sometimes cloudbursts take place, earthquake happens, or disease of some crop takes place. All such things causes famine in that region. Now, what can be done if any region is suffering from famine? That is, what are the remedial measures that we can provide for the famine affected areas? So, we can supply food and water to the people, those who are dying due to hunger. We can give medicines to the people, those who are suffering from malnutrition, because in famine and drought region, most of the time children suffer from malnutrition because they are not able to get proper nutrition, proper nourishment that has to be given in the particular age group. So as they are not getting that, so they suffer from malnutrition. So we can provide them medicines, we can provide them food and water. Even government should start helping centers for the people who are suffering from famine, which they can go and they can register themselves, they can get the benefits from the government. We can also give them temporary shelters, because in those regions, as there is also a reduction in food and water, so we can give them to stay some place where they can actually help themselves, they can get what they think, what they require. So we can give them shelter. We can even shift the animals to the safer places. We can also do a proper planning so that the region doesn't get famine again and again. We can build some hydropower plant there or something like that, which will provide water to the affected areas, and that they won't suffer famine. And also we can show them methods to how we can reuse the water, and how trees can be grown with less water. So all of these things, all of these remedial measures can be taken by the government and by the common people as well. Next is cloud burst. This is the second type of natural disaster. Now, you all must have heard in the newspapers or in the news channels that they say that cloud fat gaya. So that is nothing but the cloud burst. Now, what happens is that in a particular area, it will rain, which is not expected. Like more than expected rain occur in only that particular area. That is called as cloud burst. So what happens is that sometimes the water which is coming down as rain from the clouds does not reach the land in the form of rain, and instead there is, due to high temperature near the land, it vaporizes and go back in the same cloud. And as a result of vapors in those clouds, the vapors which are there, it becomes very high, and due to rapid condensation it rains suddenly over a specific and a small region, and it can rain up to a rate of 100 mm per hour or more, and this is called as a cloud burst. Now, cloudbursts have occurred in Leh Ladakh. It has also occurred in Mumbai, that was on 26th August 2005, and the devastating effects, it was unforgettable. And on that day, heavy rains were there, water was locked, all over it was flooded. So these cloud bursts, they actually cause a lot of damage to human settlement as well as to the area, even to the ecosystem, the animals, the plants, all of these things are destroyed. The third type of natural disaster is lightning. Now you all must have heard कि बिजली कड़क रही है. So all that we say, this is because the lightning occurs. So what is lightning? It is the large amount of charges that get built up in the clouds in rain and stormy weather, and sometimes these charges are transferred to the earth in the form of bolt of lightning. So these are nothing but the charges, which is the positive and the negative charges, both of them, the when more of negative charges is being occurred in the clouds, so those negative, some of them get fall into the ground, and because of which lightning occurs. So these are nothing but the charges which get built up in the clouds, and because of the charges, more amount of charges which are there, so these charges are transferred to the earth, and this causes lightning. Now, it is not necessary that whatever lightning is happening, all of them will strike the ground. 95% of the lightning is just a flash that is seen in the sky, and out of that, only 5% of lightning reaches the ground. And it can be generated within one cloud, between two clouds, or between a cloud and the ground. And this lightning flashes, it is just for a fraction of second that we can see in the atmosphere. Usually when it rains, you must have seen that the lightning occurs, that is just for a fraction of second. And because this is because of the high temperature, the air is, which is there, the under air which is there, the high pressure is there, and it expands, and the loud crashing sound is also heard. You must have heard that along with lightning, that is a thunder sound which we can be seen. So that is because of the high pressure, and you can hear the sound, because the expanding of the cloud takes place, and there is a loud crashing sound which. Now, when lightning strikes the ground, it can even injure any person, but usually it injures the person. And if the person is at a high place or is near a tall object, so that time only the lightning strikes any person. But the world's mortality rate due to lightning is very less death takes place because of lightning. Now, what will you do if the lightning occurs, and how to prevent loss of life due to lightning? So what you can do is, you can stand, which you should not stand below the tree or at high locations or near the electric pole or near telephonic pole. Wherever there can be the transfer of charges which can take place, you should avoid standing on those places. And even you should not stand near the open grounds, on the open grounds which are there also the lightning can strike. So that is why such places should be avoided. Also, we should not lean towards the wires or the fences around the farm or garden or any houses. Also, if you are on a two-wheeler or a tractor, or even if you are on a boat, get off immediately, and the person should go to a safer place. Now, when lightning is happening, you should avoid use of electrical appliances, or even if any electrical appliances is plugged in for charging, so we should just unplug it. Also, mobile phones and telephone usage should be avoided while lightning, and a person should stand on the wood or on the dry wood or plastic sheet or dry leaves. So these things will not attract charges because these are bad conductors. Also, if the person is on a boat, or if they are swimmers or fishermen, they should immediately get out of water, because the chances are very high that the lightning may strike in the water. And so all these things should be done to prevent ourselves from getting struck by the lightning.